Hey everyone, it's Christy with Cottage Grove Quilt Company. I'm coming to you today from my sewing studio, and this week for our quilt along, we are going to be working on putting together our finished block. So I'm going to show you some tips and tricks that I use when I start bringing these precision units together to where we make sure we do not lose our points. So this week, you have 18 blocks that you're going to make. You have the 72 corner beams, you have the 72 diamond rectangles, and you have the 18 centers. So what I typically do is I lay all that out on my table, and then I just start doing my piecing. And that is what we're going to start on first. Okay, so we are back at my sewing machine and we're ready to start. So as you can see, I have a corner beam and I have a diamond rectangle, and that's the way we're going to start. Now what I will do is I will take these and lay these up together, and I am going to sew with my diamond on top. And you can see that right here, my diamond is on top, and I want to be sure when I stitch, I'm going to stitch right through that crosshair right here. So let me point that out to you with a stiletto. By the way, at this point, I do use my stiletto a lot when I am stitching. So right here is my stiletto. And that is right there, the point that I want to make sure I go through. So we're going to lower our presser foot. We're making sure everything is lined up very nicely. We're using a very good 1/4 of an inch seam here. This is definitely some place where we want to be mindful of our 1/4 inch seam. All right, now you can see where I'm coming to the station here, and I'm going to make sure that needle is going to go right through there. And if I have to move it a little to the right or to the left, I can do that. And you noticed I slowed down really good when I got there. So I cut my thread. Pull it out. Now we're going to check and see. Look at that. I have got a perfect point right there. Just can't beat it. Now on this part, when you're putting these together, you want to be sure you're pressing your seams open. And to do that, I do a little finger pressing. And for those of you who watch our videos a lot, you'll know I've talked a lot about this pressing liquid and these pressing pins. I do use that at this point, and I will press that open with my fingers, and I'll coat this with that pressing liquid. Now in my pin, it has Best Press. And then look, I just get that right in there, flatten it down, and then I'll go to my iron and I'll give it a press. And make sure it's really good and hot, that iron. And press that open from the back and the front. Now again, the same is true when I go and bring these two units together here. I'm going to bring my square in a square and my diamond rectangle together. So again, I'm lining this up. I'm going to make sure I can see exactly where that point is right here. And I'm going to be sure I'm going to stitch right along, really to the right of that point, or right through that point. Make sure everything's lined up. Put it in, and again, you're wanting to be sure you're using a very accurate 1/4 of an inch. All right, so we're stitching along. Perfect, right there, got it. Open, and then I always check it, make sure it's good. Look at that, that's going to be just perfect. Look at how perfect that is. That's what we want, is we want those seams to come together just lovely and not be cutting anything off. So we're going to finger press that seam open, just like so. And then we are going to give this a little spritz here, a spritz there, and then take it to the ironing board and press it. Okay, as you can see, we are now ready to join 2 rows together. So let's talk a little bit about how I do that, because I need to be sure I'm checking my points here, my point here, 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 and here. So we've got a lot of intersections to worry about. And because we pressed our seams open, we do not have any nesting. There will be no nesting. So I am folding my narrow strip together just like this. And this is where I will pin. And so I will put a pin straight north and south, straight north and south. And I will make sure that pin goes through the opposite seam, straight north and south. And if not, I maneuver it and manipulate it enough to where it does go straight through. And then I pin those to seams together. So it is a little bit extra to do that little step of pinning, but that is something very important. I want to be sure I am pinning those seams together to where they line up perfectly. And you want that pin to go straight through, and you make sure it's going through the seam on both sides. So you want to make sure it's there on the seam on this side and this side, and it is. So we're going to pin right in that ditch. All right, and then now we're going to line this up and we're going to stitch. Okay. And you can see I'm watching these intersections right here to make sure we're just going to go just a little bit north of that intersection through there. Now I have very, very thin pins, so I usually can sew right through them. If you are not using very thin pins, take them out. Otherwise, you can break a needle. And you can ask me, y'all, how I know that. Ask me. Go ahead. Let me tell you. Now, I do pull that back a little bit. I don't want it hitting my seam guard there. And then we're just going to follow this right along all the way to the end. Look at that. Okay, that one's done. All right, now again, what I will do here is I will then take this and I will open my seam up. It's very important to open my seam. So I'm going to give it a little go-go juice here and here with my pressing pin, and I'm going to open this up. And again, I'm finger pressing, and it's at this point where I can make sure all of my seams match. And I'm seeing that matches there, that's good. That matches there, good. I'm not seeing a tip from the other side, so that's good. And then there we go. Look at that, that's just perfect. Now I'm going to give it just a little bit more juice here because of the bulk on that intersection. Now the reason why I do so much open seam work at this stage is because of the bulk. If I was to press this one way or the other, we'd have multiple layers of fabric right there. All right, so we're going to take this to the ironing board, press it, and I'll be right back. Okay, so look at how pretty that is starting out. So this is what you're going to be doing this week, is working on putting these units together and completing your block. So that is this week's project, and you will have 18 of these blocks when you are done. So if you have questions and need help with anything, reach out to us on our Facebook group. We are happy to help any way we can, and we look forward to seeing what you create. So take pictures of your finished blocks, you guys, and post them. I want to see what you're making because y'all have picked out some gorgeous colors and I can't wait to see them. So please post pictures on our Facebook group. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. All right, y'all, have a great day. Bye.